You know how we were about to have a chat and then you got your food?
Yeah.
Now I'm like, what the fuck was he going to say?
Oh, it was literally nothing. It was just like a touch base from yesterday.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I was like, he has the tea. No tea?
I legitimately have no tea.
Oh,
no,
okay.
because I know, like, obviously yesterday was a lot.
Yeah, it was.
Like, just like with the replacement nom and then us having a chat with you. And like, I didn't want you to like leave the ball pit and just like have your mind made up and like, you know exactly what you want to do. Because like, obviously you're hearing one thing from one side, you're hearing another thing from Kyle and I. So, and I'm not stupid that they're going to try to get in your head.
So I definitely am looking for people to work for in this game. And even though I feel like you betrayed my loyalty,
Which I did.
I do want to get far in this game.
Yeah.
And I think the only way that's going to happen is if people work together to get out bigger targets.
Because there are some very obvious big targets in this house. And I feel genuinely if I go next week, because it's a very likely possibility. If any one of those three wins next week, I'm probably on the block. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so that's just like a fate I've accepted at this point. Like I might try to like change it, but who knows what's going to happen. Like very likely I end up on the block. So if I leave this game, then I don't want them to be able to steamroll this entire house, right? Because if I'm in this game, I'm going to take shots at those three. And I'll be very clear about that right now. Like if I win HOH, two of those three are going up, probably both of the boys in that scenario. Because really right now, I think they're using Kiefer as a mouthpiece and getting Kiefer to do basically what they want to do. And I very firmly believe that if I were on the block this week, I would be going home. And I was the target this week. There was no backdoor plan. That was a smoke screen to tell me that everything's going to be fine. You know, don't try as hard in the veto. You'll be fine. We're going to put a backdoor plan in place. That's what they told me. A little bit of a smoke screen. And they, you know, Kiefer told me he put me on the block because he felt very strongly that Kyle or I would win the competition. I think he was just saying that. Obviously, we had a good chance to win. That's 2 out of 5. But if I were on the block at the end of the day against Kyle, against anybody else, I was likely going home. So I'm aware of what's going on now, everything, and how the boys are kind of controlling Keith and utilizing him in the situation. And, you know, Ty says that, like, when Keith and LaToya are on the block, like, they were chilling with Keith and shit. Not true. You know, every day I came into this room and Keith was lying alone on this bed, not doing anything, not talking to anyone. The only person he was really talking to was LaToya. And he told me that you had told him to act like he was going home, which is obviously what we were doing that week. But he was lying in here alone. The boys weren't chilling with him. Second he wins HOH, they're in there doing shots with him. And obviously they know the game that they're playing. It's a smart game and I respect it. But they go in there and then they try to take control of it. And they're trying to utilize him and get certain things done in this house.
But Kiefer can't be HOH next week. He has literally no power.
Exactly.
So what are they going to do?
Kiefer, exactly. So basically one of those three has to win. And that's why it's so important, which is what you just said, that the 6 of us stay against those 3. Because obviously that gives us double the chance of winning the HOH this week. And if one of the 6 of us wins, 2 of those 3 should be on the block. If I win, I'm putting up the boys. I'll tell you that right now. I'm just going to be perfectly transparent with you. I mean, there's no hiding the fact that Jed and Ty and Kyle and I have been going after each other for some time now. We haven't openly said it, but everybody knows that's the case, right? And they take the first shot, and they're likely going to hit on Thursday. I mean, something crazy could happen, but they're likely.
You never know in this game.
You never know. So, you know, they're likely going to hit, and that's fine. Like, but I know everything that's been going on now. I know the way that they try to use the things that are important to you, like your loyalty, like your trust, which I did betray. I'm not going to sit here and bullshit you. I did. And they're going to try to use Kiefer's sense of belonging and wanting to be part of a group in order to get things done. They're very good at that, and I give them respect for that. But we need to make a big move this week, and I firmly believe that in this game now, you are my number 1, right? Kyle goes home, you're my number 1. Austin, Braden.
I feel like you're closer with Austin and Braden, like, which is fine, but I feel like, have you talked to any of these other people about the 6? Like, what is everyone else saying?
I wanted to talk to you first, and later today I want to pull the 6 into a room with Kyle probably, just because he's here still. But for all of us to have like a regroup and a conversation about this, because like obviously like we were so firm, like when the Latoya thing was going down, you took a lot of heat for that. You took a 4-on-1 with them. We all respect that, and we should have stood by your side strongly, or at least been honest with you about the situation this week. That didn't happen, and that's why we had the conversation in the ball pit, so we could just lay it all out to you and how our hands were tied in the situation. But I have had conversations with Tina and Tara. They're still on board. I have had conversations with Braden and Austin. They're still on board. But you're my number one in this game right now, right? Everybody else has somebody. You and I don't. And that's just the brass tacks, right? You and I have each other. You were always my number two in this game. It's not like you were never my number two, right? When we started that Kyle, or you came to me and I laid down in your room the other week, and we talked about like, you know, that potential of that Kyle, Josh, Vic, and Rohan situation. Like obviously that's the first time I found out about it, because I didn't know that you were even part of that conversation. When Josh came to me, he said, me, you, Kyle, which was, I thought, the three of us boys, right? So that for me, and you guys, and you can coming back to Kyle and I and saying you still want to work together with us, like we at that point, and still right now, we're always in a duo, in a pair, but we've never been in a foursome, and I don't think there is a foursome within the six with Tina and Tara and Austin and Braden. Like I don't think they're a foursome either.
But what about you, Bray and Austin, you and Kyle?
No, we're not a foursome either, but that's what the boys are saying, right? That's what the boys are going to Kiefer and saying, that these guys are working together, so that Kiefer spits it out to everybody, then comes and talks to him. The boys are telling everyone that we're working together. In fact, Jed and Beth, when they told me they were going to throw the veto, in that same conversation, they told me, oh, we think Austin and Braden are working with you guys, because they came into the ball pit to console you after you got nominated. And I straight up told them no. And we're not. And you can go ask Austin and Braden that too, and they'll say the exact same thing.
Interesting.
Have they been telling you that today?
They don't talk game to me.
The boys?
No, it's just like fun and games. Like I just sat outside with them for an hour and we literally talked about vacations. Like they did say, what did they say? I don't know, Tara and Tina weren't there. They want to know where their heads are at. Because they don't know. Yeah. I think they know that you're gunning for them. I think.
I'm pretty sure, like I said, it's been like an unsaid thing in this house where it's like, ha ha ha, Pretty Boys 2.0 has started. Like, you know, everybody wanted to make fun of that. And there was, after that point, like after that started, like very clear duos that split from that Pretty Boys 2.0, which was obviously Jed and Ty, and then Kyle and I. And we obviously like couldn't see eye to eye on certain situations, and it turned into a 2v2 instead of a 4-person thing, which was never the case. But like, I'll be honest, when Josh said PB 2.0, we hadn't even talked about it, but after we're like, oh, could this work? But it honestly didn't. And there's been like this unsaid thing in the house where yeah, we're going after them and they're coming after us. So like, I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh no, we're not going after the boys. Like, that's not the case. And hopefully you don't take any piece of this conversation to anyone, because like this is every conversation that I have between you and I, as far as I know, is between you and I.
I won't.
Yeah.
But there's people who don't keep stuff to themselves.
Yeah.
And some of them are part of the six.
Like who?
Like, I don't know. I fucking don't want to drop any names, but I know it's not me. And the fact that some of the stuff that has come back to me from different people that weren't in the HOH room when I was HOH room scares the shit out of me.
So, okay, you don't have to tell me who, but like what pieces of information came back to you?
What was it? Sorry, I had it on my tip of my tongue. Who we were talking about if Jed were to have used the veto? Who we were talking about putting up?
Like Deshaun?
So that got back, and I think I know how it got out, and it just is concerning.
Okay.
Like, do you know what I mean? Like, just something like that.
So you think it was probably A and B, right? Because TNT don't even talk to them.
And that's just so concerning.
Okay.
I don't even know if it's A and B. I just somebody. It could have also come from Kiefer. TNT could have told Kiefer. Kiefer could have told the boys.
Okay.
Or maybe when they were when A and B were campaigning for me. Maybe they were using that as leverage, saying I was going to put up Ty. I don't know. But that's just.
So when they 4-on-1 you in your room, they kind of already knew that Ty.
No, I don't think they did. No.
Oh, not at that point?
No.
Okay.
No, they didn't know at that point.
Okay.
So, like, yeah, I just, like, I don't want to take these shots and miss because, Jesus, it's such, like, an important game. We had a good thing going.
We did.
I would love to be loyal to it again. as long as I know that everyone else is.
I'm 100% loyal to it. I'll tell you that right now. There's in no way, shape, or form me working with either of those three, to be honest. And Kiefer. Kiefer, I tried to reestablish a relationship with him, but he wants to make some emotional, personal decisions, and that's fine. Throw me on slop again, throw me on the block, try to get back at me for whatever. But obviously, you and I know that putting 2 of the 7 up wasn't smart for his game. He had the numbers with him, and he could have rolled with the numbers, and he chose not to. So for me, that was a little bit of an emotional decision, and perhaps one that was orchestrated by the boys, which is why I think he's a little bit of a mouthpiece for him. And I think it was the boys' way of taking a shot at Kyle and I. I strongly believe if neither of us won the veto, then I would have been going home over Kyle. And you can see that you were watching from the bleachers, you saw Jed and Beth both gunning for that veto, and they told us both they were going to throw it. So that was the plan, is to get me out.
Crazy. I just want to be with the numbers. I just want to have the numbers. The next situation is going to be so fucking crucial. I feel like I could go up on any side.
I don't think you will, to be honest.
Well, with the way everyone was fucking pitching me, I'd feel like they make it seem like I'm such an easy person to put up.
Well, I'll tell you right now, like, if I win, you're not going up, obviously. I'll be 100% truthful to that. You won't even touch as a replacement nominee, because I truly believe you're my number one in this game now. Look, Austin, you can, like, obviously I hang out with Austin and Braden because, like, they're good personal people.
Yeah, they're cool.
But they're each other's number one. Tina and Tara obviously are each other's number one. And you and I have always had a good relationship. We have a Burley Hammer connection. We were in this pseudo 3-person alliance that we never shook hands on, but it was kind of there.
Yeah.
And Kyle is my number one, obviously, since day 3. He goes home. That makes you and I the natural pair, and I think a really strong one at that. And I think we can do some damage together. If we can get the 6 on the same page, which I think from my conversation so far, I think everybody is, then we're good to rock and roll. I know for sure if I win who I'm putting up, and in any scenario, worst case, like if I put the boys up, Beth wins the veto, pulls one down, Kiefer goes on the block, we send the other boy home.
Yeah. That's a really good plan.
So at least there's 4 of them to kind of play with, but the only good thing about Kiefer winning HOH this week is that he can't play this week, and we have a 6-3 advantage in this HOH competition if we can all get on the same page here. We have the numbers. It all comes down to competition, because one competition can change the course of this game. And we know that. If they win again, then, I'm fucked, I think. And maybe you go on the block next to me. I don't know. But I'm for sure on the block if we don't win. And I know that. So, unless they're going to put some crazy plan in to try to backdoor me. But it could be me and you. It could be me and Tara. We don't know. But I know for a fact that the boys are trying to use the things that are important to you, like your loyalty and like your trust, to come in and hang out with you and talk about vacations and lie on your bed at night. Like, I see it. I know what Tashawn's trying to do.
They're not trying to pull me in to, like, work with them.
No, I don't think they are. But what they're trying to do is they're trying to reestablish credibility with you, because they're smooth talkers, right? They're very charismatic people. They're good-looking people. People tend to believe people that look like that and talk like that. I know that for a fact. I've been in business for several years now. Like, I know this when I interact with people. People tend to believe people that look more believable.
Yeah.
And so they might not be trying to, like, form this, like, 5-person alliance with you right now. But what they are trying to do is reestablish credibility with you and trust with you, like talking about vacations and stuff and just shooting the shit with you, because they know that they came into your HOH room and they 4-on-1'd you, and they were basically talking very loudly at you. They were talking shit about you when you heard. They know that. And they have to do these things before they say, hey, come on in and work with us. So if they can establish credibility with you in the event that you win HOH, then they think that they can get you to do whatever they want to do. And I see it. I'm watching it. Okay. I'm just quietly observing, but I know exactly. Yeah. I know at this point everything that's gone on. Maybe I was a little bit in the dark last week, but I know at this point everything that's gone on and what they're doing, and I respect them for it. They're playing good games, but if we continue to let them do it, they will steamroll this house and they'll go final 2.
What do you think about Austin and Braden and Beth? Like, they're always together talking. Mm-hmm. I worry about that. One thing gets leaked to Beth, it gets to the boys.
Mm-hmm. So the good news is that Austin and Braden, they come to me with things that Beth says to them. So I know that that's them establishing trust with the 6, because because I honestly, I talk smack about Beth all the time to Austin and Braden, and I know they don't go and tell her because it hasn't been brought up. So that's number one in trust. So I tell Austin and Braden stuff about Beth, and they haven't been going back to Beth and telling her anything. And things that Beth says to them, they come back sometime, depending on what the situation is, and they'll tell me those pieces of information. So I think very strongly that Austin and Braden are on our side, but they do. We have to realize the position that Austin and Braden are in this house. They're in a very, very good spot, right? They're good on both sides. They have a relationship with Beth. To some degree, the boys. They have a relationship with the six. I think what we need to do is, as hard as this is, I think we just need to let Austin and Braden play that role because they're in such a good spot in this game. We need to be able to use them to get in with Beth and get in with the boys because we don't have those strong relationships there. And yes, they might be in the best position in the house, but I think we need to let them play that role. So if you see them getting close to Beth, I really, really wouldn't worry about it because I've had several conversations with them about the six and making sure that the targets are the same, which is right now the two boys. And if they want HOH,
okay for going after them?
If they want HOH, they would put the two boys up.
Do you really believe that?
Yes. I very much believe that. I had no way think that they would put us up. And I know Tina and Tara wouldn't put us up as well.
Who do you think they'd put up?
The boys.
You really believe that?
Yep. They have no... Look, the boys, what they tried to do with Tara and pin the vote on Tara, the flip vote on my week, what they did is I'm not sure if you know this or not, or maybe you do, but essentially what happened is like they wanted to take the heat off LaToya because LaToya was the main one in flipping the vote. And they came up to Kyle and I and they tried to pin the whole flip vote on Tara, which I know for a fact is not true. And they tried to say that Tara started the flip vote and she was really pushing for it the morning of.